12 spectacular August-planted perennials that will transform your fall garden. Stop. Before you put away those gardening gloves and surrender to the August heat, I need to share something that will completely revolutionize your approach to late-season gardening. What I'm about to reveal goes against everything most gardeners believe about planting timing, and it's the reason my garden becomes the neighborhood showstopper every single autumn while others fade into brown mediocrity. Here's the truth nobody talks about. August isn't when your gardening season ends, it's when the real magic begins. I'm Robert from Seniors Gardening Advice, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 12 extraordinary perennials that will create the most spectacular fall display your neighborhood has ever witnessed. If you're tired of watching your garden decline while summer fades, hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you're going to want to catch every single tip I'm sharing today. And stick around until the end. I've got exclusive container preparation secrets that guarantee success with these late-season heroes. The August planting revolution. Picture this scenario. Your neighbors are already mentally checking out of their gardens, watching their spring plantings fade and assuming the show is over. Meanwhile, you're about to embark on a planting adventure that will have them stopping in their tracks come September and October. These aren't ordinary flowers that bloom briefly and disappear. These are resilient perennials that will return year after year, each season more magnificent than the last. Most gardeners commit a devastating mistake. They pour all their energy into spring planting, enjoy a fleeting summer display, and by August, they've already surrendered to the inevitable decline. But what if I revealed that August represents the golden opportunity for planting some of the most breathtaking perennials in existence? Plants that not only tolerate heat, but actually thrive in challenging conditions, rewarding you with stunning autumn blooms when everything else has given up. I'm about to unveil 12 perennial powerhouses that will fundamentally transform your perspective on late-season gardening. These aren't conventional spring bloomers. They're the rebels, the showstoppers, the plants that come alive precisely when others are retreating. Plant them this August and they'll reward you with continuous color through October, November, and remarkably, some even persist into December. Welcome to Seniors Gardening Advice, where we don't just garden, we garden strategically. I'm here to demonstrate that August isn't your garden's finale, it's your second act of horticultural brilliance.
Plant number 1, Rudbeckia, Black-Eyed Susan, your golden garden champion. Leading our countdown is the magnificent Rudbeckia, commonly known as Black-Eyed Susan. Allow me to explain why this botanical superstar deserves the premier position on every August gardener's must-have list. When I first introduced these radiant beauties to my garden 6 years ago, I had no comprehension that I was about to witness one of nature's most dependable performers in action. Envision pure golden sunshine, captured and transformed into floral form, blooming continuously from the moment you transplant them until the season's first killing frost arrives. These aren't delicate prima donnas requiring constant attention and coddling. They're genuine garden warriors that actually gain strength and vigor as temperatures soar. While your neighbors' impatience wilt pitifully in their containers, your black-eyed Susans will stand proudly erect, producing flower after magnificent flower, as if they're fueled by concentrated summer energy. The daisy-like blooms, featuring their distinctive dark chocolate brown centers, create a striking contrast that literally stops passers-by in their tracks. I've had numerous visitors inquire about my artificial flowers because they find it impossible to believe anything could appear so flawless during the intensity of late summer heat. Here's what generates genuine excitement for me. They're remarkably drought-tolerant once their root systems establish. This translates to significantly less maintenance work for you and substantially more time to simply enjoy that gorgeous golden spectacle. But the absolute best aspect? When autumn arrives and everything else begins its inevitable fade, these champions persist relentlessly. They'll continue blooming consistently through September, October, and frequently well into November. It's equivalent to hosting your personal celebration every single time you venture outdoors. The secret to Black-Eyed Susan's August planting success lies in their remarkable adaptability. Unlike spring-planted specimens that sometimes struggle with transplant shock during cooler weather, August-planted Rudbeckia establishes quickly in warm soil conditions. The heat actually stimulates robust root development, creating stronger, more resilient plants that are perfectly positioned for their spectacular autumn performance. What truly sets these plants apart is their incredible versatility in garden design. Whether you're creating a cottage garden aesthetic, developing a prairie-style landscape, or simply adding a reliable color to mixed borders, Black-Eyed Susans integrate seamlessly. They combine beautifully with ornamental grasses, pair elegantly with purple-flowered companions, and create stunning mass plantings that can be seen from considerable distances.
Plant 2. Perovskia, Russian Sage, the ethereal purple cloud. Securing the second position, we have Perovskia, commonly known as Russian Sage. This plant embodies pure poetry in horticultural motion. The initial time I observed this growing in a colleague's garden, I found myself convinced I was viewing a purple cloud that had somehow taken permanent root in her landscape. The graceful way it sways and dances in the slightest breeze is absolutely hypnotic, like having an elegant ballet dancer performing continuously in your garden throughout the day. Those tall, sophisticated spires of lavender blue flowers create incredible vertical drama that instantly transforms any ordinary space into something truly extraordinary. When I emphasize they thrive in heat, I mean they absolutely flourish in it. The higher temperatures climb, the more intensely fragrant they become. Simply brushing against the silvery gray foliage releases this wonderful herbal fragrance that instantly transports you to sun-drenched Mediterranean hillsides. What makes Russian sage absolutely perfect for August planting is its extraordinary resilience and heat preference. This plant literally laughs at drought conditions, shrugs off poor soil quality, and actually performs superior with minimal intervention. It's as if nature specifically designed it for busy gardeners who desire maximum visual impact with minimal maintenance requirements. Speaking of impact, these magnificent plants can easily reach heights of 3 to 4 feet, creating stunning backdrops for shorter companions, while simultaneously attracting impressive clouds of butterflies and beneficial bees. I planted my initial Russian sage specimens in August 4 years ago, and by October, they appeared as if they had been established residents for decades. The secret lies in Russian sage's actual preference for warm weather planting. It provides the root system ample time to establish before winter's arrival, while still producing that spectacular autumn display. The architectural qualities of Russian sage cannot be overstated. Even after the flowers fade, the silvery stems maintain their structural beauty throughout winter, providing four-season interest that few perennials can match. During windy autumn days, the movement of mature Russian sage creates an almost hypnotic garden focal point that draws the eye and adds dynamic energy to static landscape compositions.
Plant 3. Echinacea, or purple coneflower, the ultimate pollinator paradise. Position 3 belongs to Echinacea, better known as purple coneflower. If your goal is creating a genuine pollinator paradise within your garden space, this represents your golden ticket to success. These remarkable plants function like hosting the ultimate garden celebration, where butterflies, bees, goldfinches, and hummingbirds all arrive for the festivities. Here's what's particularly exciting about contemporary coneflower varieties. They're no longer limited to traditional purple coloration. You'll discover cultivars in vibrant coral, brilliant orange, sunny yellow, pristine white, and even double-flowered forms that resemble fluffy pom-poms. However, that classic purple variety with the prominent bronze cone remains the undisputed queen of the garden, in my personal opinion. What makes these exceptional for August planting is their incredible heat tolerance and improved performance in warm conditions. While other flowers struggle and wilt other August's intensity, coneflowers are just reaching their optimal stride. They actually produce superior blooms and develop stronger stems when planted during hot weather periods. Here's an additional bonus that will definitely make you smile. The distinctive seed heads that develop after blooming are architectural masterpieces that provide crucial food sources for birds throughout the entire winter season. I vividly remember the first time I planted coneflowers during late August. My neighbor thought my timing was completely misguided. "Who plants flowers during the peak heat?" she questioned skeptically. By September, when her garden appeared tired and predominantly brown, mine was buzzing with constant activity and vibrant color. She's been requesting plant divisions ever since that transformation. The absolute best aspect of coneflowers is their virtually indestructible nature once established. Drought conditions? They handle them effortlessly. Poor soil quality? No problem whatsoever. Neglect? They actually thrive on minimal attention. It's equivalent to having the most forgiving friend possible in your garden. Always present, always reliable, always beautiful. Modern breeding has expanded coneflower possibilities exponentially. New introductions feature incredible flower forms, extended blooming periods, and enhanced disease resistance. Some varieties produce flowers that can reach dinner plate proportions, while others maintain compact growth habits perfect for container gardening or front-of-border placement.
Plant 4. Coreopsis, threadleaf Coreopsis, the perpetual blooming engine. Claiming the 4th position, we have threadleaf Coreopsis, and this compact powerhouse will permanently change your perspective about late-season planting possibilities. When I inform people, this plant blooms continuously, from planting day through hard frost. They regard me with skeptical disbelief. However, I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. This represents nature's own perpetual motion flowering machine. The individual blooms are perfect golden stars, approximately quarter-sized, covering entire plants so densely you can barely glimpse the delicate thread-like foliage underneath. It resembles someone scattering pure, concentrated sunshine across your entire garden landscape. The beauty of the fine textured leaves creates this soft, ethereal effect that contrasts magnificently with bolder companion plants. But here's what genuinely excites me about Coreopsis. It's practically maintenance-free in every aspect. While other plants demand regular deadheading, specialized fertilizers, and constant attention, Coreopsis continues producing flowers automatically, without any assistance. The spent blooms drop cleanly away, making space for fresh ones without requiring any intervention from you. I planted my inaugural threadleaf Coreopsis on August 20th, expecting perhaps a few weeks of bloom before frost arrival. What I received instead was continuous flowering until December, and it returned the following spring at twice the original size and significantly more floriferous. That's when I realized I had discovered something truly special, a plant that actually rewards late-season planting with extended bloom duration. The drought tolerance is absolutely phenomenal. I've forgotten to water mine for weeks during intense heat spells, and they continued blooming as if nothing unusual had occurred. It represents the perfect plant choice for anyone desiring significant impact with minimal effort investment. What many gardeners don't realize is that threadleaf Coreopsis actually benefits from the stress of late-season planting. The warm soil allows for rapid establishment, while the approaching cooler weather prevents the excessive vegetative growth that can occur with spring planting. This creates more compact, floriferous plants that are perfectly timed for peak autumn performance.
Plant number 5. Symphoeotrichum, fall-blooming asters. When everyone else says goodbye, say hello. Occupying the 5th position, we have fall-blooming asters, and these magnificent plants are about to completely revolutionize your perspective on autumn gardening possibilities. When I planted my first aster specimens during late August 5 years ago, I assumed I was simply adding modest late-season color enhancement. What I received instead was a complete garden transformation that left my neighbors absolutely speechless. Picture stepping outside in early October when every other garden on the entire block appears tired and predominantly brown, while your space explodes with massive clouds of tiny purple, pink, or white flowers. That's the genuine magic of fall-blooming asters. These native wildflowers don't merely bloom during fall. They produce the most spectacular floral show of the entire growing year when temperatures begin cooling. The individual flowers are small, but they appear in such enormous clusters that they create incredible purple or white clouds that appear to float magically above the foliage. Here's what really generates excitement for me. They're absolutely essential for migrating butterfly populations. I've personally counted over 30 monarch butterflies on a single aster plant during peak migration periods. It's equivalent to hosting a butterfly convention directly in your own backyard space. But here's the secret most gardeners never discover. Asters actually prefer late summer planting timing. Spring-planted asters often develop tall, floppy growth habits, but those planted during August develop stronger, more compact growth that's perfectly synchronized for their spectacular fall performance. The cooler fall temperatures intensify their flower colors dramatically, creating displays that photographs simply cannot capture adequately. What I love most about asters is their incredible reliability and seasonal marking ability. Once you establish them, they mark the changing seasons for you with clockwork precision. Every September, the buds begin forming predictably. By October, you're rewarded with incredible displays that persist for weeks, sometimes extending into November if hard frost delays its arrival. The ecological value of fall asters cannot be overstated. They provide crucial nectar sources when most other flowers have finished their seasonal performance, supporting late-season pollinators and migrating butterfly populations that depend on these reliable food sources for successful migration completion. Plant number 6, Hylotelephium, Autumn Joy Sedum, the shape-shifting garden chameleon. Number 6 is Autumn Joy Sedum, and this plant embodies pure garden magic in plant form. If you've never cultivated sedums previously, you're about to discover why they're called the chameleons of the plant kingdom. This single plant provides 3 completely different aesthetic appearances throughout the growing season, and each phase is more beautiful than the previous. It begins as gorgeous jade-green rosettes during spring and summer periods, thick, succulent leaves that appear almost architectural in their geometric perfection. Then, during late summer, something absolutely incredible occurs. Flat-topped flower clusters emerge, starting as pale green buttons that gradually transform through pink, then rose, and finally deep burgundy red as fall progresses. It's like observing a slow-motion fireworks display occurring directly in your garden space. I vividly remember the first time I witnessed this remarkable transformation happening. I kept assuming something was wrong with the plant because it continuously changed colors. Then I realized I was witnessing one of nature's most incredible seasonal color shows. By late October, those flower heads had transformed to rich bronze burgundy that glows like precious jewels in autumn sunlight. But here's what makes Autumn Joy perfect for August planting. It's practically indestructible under any conditions. Drought? It laughs at drought conditions. Poor soil quality? It actually prefers it. Neglect? It thrives on minimal attention. These are succulent plants, meaning they store water reserves in their thick, fleshy leaves. It's like nature's own built-in irrigation system integrated directly into the plant structure. And the bee activity? Absolutely incredible. When Autumn Joy blooms during September and October, it transforms into an extraordinary pollinator magnet. At a time when most flowers have finished their seasonal performance, your sedums will be buzzing with incredible activity. I've counted dozens of different bee species on a single plant, all frantically gathering nectar before winter's arrival. The best part, these flower heads maintain their beauty even after finishing their blooming cycle. They dry to beautiful rust colors that provide architectural interest throughout the entire winter period, and they're absolutely perfect for dried flower arrangements and seasonal decorating.
Plant number 7, Anemone hoopihensis, Japanese anemone. Delicate beauty with titanium strength. Claiming 7th position, we have Japanese anemone, and this plant is destined to become your newest garden obsession. When people observe these delicate, papery flowers dancing gracefully in the breeze, they automatically assume they're viewing something fragile and temperamental. However, Japanese anemones represent living proof that appearances can be completely deceiving. These beauties are tough as titanium. The flowers are absolutely ethereal, single or double blooms in pristine white or soft pink that seem to float magically above dark green foliage like butterflies. Each petal appears cut from the finest tissue paper, so delicate you'd assumed a strong breeze would destroy them completely. But these plants laugh at wind, rain, and even early frost conditions. They're the elegant survivors of the perennial plant kingdom. What makes Japanese anemones perfect for August planting is their unique blooming schedule timing. While most perennials are concluding their seasonal show, anemones are just beginning their performance. They commence blooming in late August and continue consistently through October, sometimes extending into November. It's like experiencing a second spring season in your garden when everything else is preparing for winter dormancy. I planted my first Japanese anemones in a partially shaded location where nothing else seemed particularly happy. I remained skeptical. How could something so delicate appearing thrive where other plants struggled consistently? But by the second growing season, I had developed a gorgeous colony of plants producing hundreds of flowers from late summer through fall. They had discovered their perfect home environment and were rewarding me with incredible displays. Here's what really impressed me about these remarkable plants. They actually prefer partial shade conditions, making them perfect solutions for those challenging spots where you struggle to find successful blooming plants. North-facing patios, areas beneath established trees, locations receiving morning sun but afternoon shade. Anemones love these specific locations and will bloom beautifully where sun-loving plants would struggle significantly. The way they move in breezes is absolutely mesmerizing. On gentle fall afternoons, watching Japanese anemones dance in the garden becomes like meditation. Each individual flower nods and sways independently, creating incredible movement and life when other plants are becoming dormant for winter.
Plant number 8, Caryopteris, blue mist shrub. Electric blue when everything else goes warm-toned. Securing 8th position, we have blue mist shrub, also called Caryopteris, and this plant will add a color to your fall garden that you probably never imagined possible. When most fall flowers showcase reds, oranges, and yellows, Caryopteris brings electric blue energy to the seasonal party. Let me tell you, it's absolutely show-stopping in its visual impact. The first time I observed this plant in full bloom, I literally stopped my vehicle and approached a stranger's door to inquire about its identity. The homeowner laughed and mentioned she receives that reaction constantly. These aren't ordinary blue flowers. They're electric, almost neon blue clusters that seem to glow against silvery green foliage. It's like someone scattered pieces of summer sky throughout your garden landscape. But here's what makes Caryopteris perfect for containers and late-season planting. It maintains compact growth and blooms on new wood formation. This means you can plant it during August, and it will still produce a complete display of flowers during September and October. Unlike shrubs requiring full-year establishment before blooming well, blue mist shrub rewards you with flowers during its inaugural season. The butterfly attraction is absolutely phenomenal. I've never witnessed anything attract butterflies quite like Caryopteris in full bloom. On warm September afternoons, my blue mist shrub appears decorated with living jewelry. Monarchs, swallowtails, skippers, and dozens of smaller butterfly species all competing for space on those electric blue flower clusters.
And the fragrance. When you brush against the foliage, it releases this wonderful herbal scent that falls somewhere between mint and lavender aromatics. It's like aromatherapy occurring directly in your garden space. I've actually positioned mine near seating areas specifically to enjoy that wonderful fragrance during cool fall evenings. What really impressed me about this plant is its heat tolerance and drought resistance once established. While other plants struggle under late summer heat stress, Caryopteris continues producing those incredible blue flowers consistently. It appears designed specifically for challenging growing conditions and actually thrives under stress.
Plant number 9, Gaura lindheimeri, whirling butterflies, is like having a cloud of butterflies dancing. Position 9 belongs to Gaura, commonly called whirling butterflies, and this plant represents pure magic in constant motion. The first time I observed this growing in a friend's garden, I stood mesmerized for 15 minutes simply watching it dance. The delicate stems sway with the slightest air movement, and those tiny white or pink flowers flutter like dozens of butterflies that never actually land. What makes Gaura absolutely perfect for August planting is its incredible heat tolerance and unique blooming schedule. This plant actually improves as weather gets hotter. While other flowers wilt under August intensity, Gaura produces more flowers, stronger stems, and incredible airy texture that adds movement to every garden composition. The individual flowers are small, approximately thumbnail-sized, but they appear in such abundance that they create incredible cloud-like effects. Each bloom features 4 petals and long, delicate stamens that flutter in breezes. It's like nature's own wind chimes, but instead of sound, you receive constant hypnotic movement that brings your entire garden to life. I planted my first whirling butterflies on August 25th 4 years ago, thinking I might achieve 1 month of bloom before frost. What I received was 3 solid months of nonstop flowering from planting date right through November. Even after the first light frost when other plants were blackened and finished, my Gaura continued producing new flowers as if nothing had happened. Here's what really impressed me about this plant. It's practically indestructible once established. Drought? It laughs at drought conditions. Poor soil? It prefers challenging conditions. Heat waves? It thrives in extreme temperatures. Windstorms? The flexible stems just dance harder. It's like having the most resilient performer in your garden, always on stage, always putting on an incredible show. The way it combines with other plants is absolutely magical. I use it as a living veil in front of boulder flowers, creating incredible layered effects. The solid colors of coneflowers or asters show through the dancing stems of Gaura, creating depth and movement that makes your entire garden appear professionally designed.
Plant number 10 is blanket flower, also called Gaillardia, and this plant brings the warmth of summer sunsets directly to your fall garden. When I tell people that some of my blanket flowers continue blooming in December, they regard me with complete disbelief. But these native wildflowers are absolute champions of extended bloom periods, especially when planted during late summer. The flowers are absolutely stunning. Imagine sunset captured in bloom form. Deep reds bleeding into bright oranges and yellows, sometimes burgundy, all within the same individual flower. Each bloom appears hand-painted with colors so rich and warm they seem to generate their own heat source. On cool October mornings, when everything else appears subdued, blanket flowers glow like small campfires scattered throughout your garden landscape. What makes Gaillardia perfect for late-season planting is its incredible toughness and preference for cooler root establishment conditions. When you plant them during August heat, they establish quickly, but don't stress about immediate blooming requirements. Instead, they build strong root systems and prepare for the spectacular fall show that's approaching. I remember my first experience with blanket flowers vividly. I planted them in what I considered a terrible location. Hot, dry, with poor soil quality where nothing else would grow successfully. I figured if they survived, great, and if not, I hadn't lost much investment. What happened next? amazed me completely. Not only did they survive, they absolutely thrived. The worse conditions became, the better they performed. Here's the secret about blanket flowers. They actually prefer being slightly stressed. Rich soil and regular water make them lazy. They produce more foliage and fewer flowers. But plant them in challenging conditions, and they respond by blooming their hearts out. It's like they're attempting to produce as many seeds as possible to ensure survival, and that means significantly more flowers for your enjoyment. The drought tolerance is legendary. I've gone 8 weeks without watering mine during summer heat waves, and they continued blooming consistently. When other plants were dropping leaves and entering dormancy, my Gaillardia appeared as if nothing unusual had occurred. It's the perfect plant choice for busy gardeners or anyone who travels frequently during summer months.
Plant number 11, Tricertis, or toad lily, the orchid of the shade garden. Position 11 belongs to toad lily, and this plant will completely revolutionize your perspective about what's possible in shaded fall gardens. When people observe these exotic spotted flowers blooming during September and October, they cannot believe they're viewing something hardy enough to survive winter outdoors. The flowers are absolutely extraordinary. They resemble tiny orchids with intricate purple and white spotting patterns. Each bloom represents a work of art, featuring 6 petals covered in the most delicate purple spots on pristine white backgrounds. The way spots are arranged differs on every flower, making each bloom completely unique. It's like maintaining a collection of living jewelry scattered throughout your shade garden. What makes toad lily perfect for August planting is its blooming schedule and shade tolerance. This represents one of the few perennials that actually blooms superior in shade conditions and saves its spectacular flower show for fall, when most shade plants have finished their seasonal performance. Plant them during August, and by October, you'll have exotic blooms that appear to belong in tropical conservatories. I planted my first toad lilies in a location where nothing else seemed particularly happy. Deep shade beneath mature trees, where soil stays consistently moist but never receives direct sunlight. I remained skeptical that anything would bloom well there, especially something with flowers this exotic looking. But toad lilies proved me completely wrong. The plants form elegant, arching stems with oval leaves that appear attractive throughout the entire season. Then, during early fall, something magical occurs. Buds form long stems and at tips, and suddenly you have dozens of these incredible orchid-like flowers opening over several weeks. Each stem becomes a living floral arrangement that persists for weeks. Here's what really impressed me about toad lilies. They're conversation starters like nothing else in the garden. Every single person who sees them in bloom asks the identical question: what is that incredible flower? The common name might not sound appealing, but don't let that fool you. These are sophisticated, elegant plants that add exotic touches to any shade garden. Plant number 12, Brassica oleracea, ornamental kale. Our final plant, number 12, is ornamental kale, and this selection will surprise you completely. When I first suggest ornamental kale to gardeners, they often wrinkle their noses and respond, "But that's a vegetable." You know what? They're absolutely correct, and that's exactly what makes it so incredibly special. Ornamental kale brings colors into fall gardens that you simply cannot obtain from traditional flowers. We're discussing deep purples, bright pinks, creamy whites, and rich greens, all within the same plant. But here's the magic. These colors intensify as weather gets cooler. Light frosts that kill other plants actually make ornamental kale more beautiful. The rosettes resemble enormous roses constructed from ruffled silk. Some varieties feature smooth leaves, others are deeply ruffled and textured. Colors start subtle during warm weather, then explode into brilliant displays as temperatures drop. By late October, a container of ornamental kale appears filled with giant, colorful flowers that laugh at frost conditions.
I started using ornamental kale in my fall containers 6 years ago, and it completely transformed my autumn decorating approach. While neighbors were removing their tired summer annuals and leaving empty containers, my containers were just reaching their peak beauty. The contrast between bold architectural leaves and delicate flowers from other plants creates stunning combinations that last well into winter. But here's the bonus that really excites me. Ornamental kale is completely edible. Those gorgeous purple and pink leaves make incredible salad additions, and they're packed with beneficial nutrients. You can literally eat your decorations. I've served leaves from my containers at dinner parties, and guests are consistently amazed that something so beautiful can taste so good. What makes ornamental kale perfect for August planting is its preference for cooler weather development. Plant it now, and by fall's arrival, you'll have established plants ready to produce their spectacular cool weather color show. Unlike spring-planted kale that often bolts during summer heat, fall-planted ornamental kale has months of perfect growing conditions ahead.
Essential tips for August planting success. Before we conclude, let me share crucial tips I've learned from years of late-season planting that will guarantee your success with these incredible perennials. Container preparation excellence. First, and this is absolutely critical, always use high-quality potting mix, never garden soil. I learned this lesson expensively when I lost an entire container of beautiful plants because I thought I could save money using soil from my yard. Garden soil becomes concrete-like in containers, creating drainage problems that will kill even the most drought-tolerant plants. Quality potting mix drains properly while retaining enough moisture for healthy root development. Ensure every single container has adequate drainage holes. I don't care how beautiful that container appears, without drainage, it's a death trap for your plants. Even desert plants will rot in waterlogged soil conditions. If you fall in love with a container without holes, either drill some or use it as a decorative outer container with a properly drained liner inside. Watering wisdom for late-season success. Here's the watering secret most gardeners misunderstand. Water deeply but less frequently. Insert your finger into the soil. If the top inch feels dry, it's watering time. When you water, do so slowly and thoroughly until you observe drainage from the bottom. This encourages deep root growth that helps plants survive winter and thrive next year. Late-season planted perennials need consistent moisture to establish good root systems before winter, but they don't need to be constantly wet. Think of it as helping them build strong foundations for next year's spectacular performance. Fertilizer strategy for late-season planting. Skip high-nitrogen fertilizers that encourage soft, tender growth vulnerable to frost damage. Instead, use balanced, slow-release fertilizers or low-nitrogen, high-phosphorus blends that encourage root development and flower production. Your plants will establish better and be more prepared for winter challenges. Your second chance at garden magic. There you have it, 12 incredible perennials that prove August isn't your gardening season's end, it's your second chance at garden magic. From the golden sunshine of black-eyed Susans to the exotic, orchid-like blooms of toad lilies, these plants will transform your garden into a fall spectacular that neighbors will discuss for years. Consider this. While everyone else surrenders their gardens and resigns themselves to brown, empty containers, you could be stepping outside to a space that's more beautiful in October than it was in July. These aren't merely plants. They're your secret weapons for extending gardening joy well into fall and beyond. Every single plant on this list will return stronger and more beautiful next year. That means this late summer investment pays dividends for years to come. You're not just planting flowers, you're planting future joy, future beauty, and future memories. Which of these 12 champions caught your attention? Are you ready to prove that August is actually prime planting time? I want to hear about your late-season gardening adventures. Drop a comment below and tell me which plants you're most excited to try, or share your own experiences with fall planting.
I read every single comment and love connecting with fellow gardeners who refuse to let the season end in August. If this video has inspired you to see late summer in a completely new way, smash that like button and share with someone who thinks gardening ends when the calendar hits August. Let's spread the word that the best gardening adventures are just beginning when everyone else is packing it in. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We have an entire fall gardening series coming up with container design ideas, winter preparation strategies, and next season planning that will keep your garden gorgeous year-round. Until next time, keep growing, keep experimenting, and remember, in gardening, as in life, it's never too late to start something beautiful. Your future self will thank you for every plant you add to your garden today.